Good afternoon, Jeremy Corbyn, MP, Islington North. Sadly, I didn't go to any GDST school. I love the Hogwarts banner. Hold it up, the Hogwarts banner. This wouldn't happen at Hogwarts. I'm not sure. I think it just might have done. But that's the kind of illusional world that we're dealing with. Just say this, absolute support and solidarity with you. Because it's not about necessarily who the employer is, it's the principle, as Daniel was saying, that if they get away with taking away your pension and your conditions by using the lax legislation we have in this country, you will all lose out. You'll be in worse pay, worse conditions, you won't have a pension at the end of it. Every other teacher's security is weakened if they get away with this. So your struggle is actually very important for every teacher in every school all across this country. And that's why I'm very pleased to be here today to be able to support you in this. What I'd also say is that the campaigns against fire and rehire that have gone on all over the country have actually been very successful. As employer after employer has collapsed in the face of union pressure to protect jobs and protect conditions and stop this mad fire and rehire scheme. And when Barry Gardiner introduced the private members bill in the House to try and prevent fire and rehire, on a Friday morning, normally there's very few MPs around and private members bills get debated and usually go through, sometimes without much opposition. That day, every Tory MP was ordered back to London in order to vote down protection of workers who had worked through the COVID pandemic. Their employers had received a large amount of government support to get through the pandemic, including loans, including grants, and the furlough scheme. The first thing they wanted to do was get rid of those very loyal workers and rehire them on worse conditions. Every Tory MP came back to London to vote down Barry's bill. That means the struggle against fire and rehire goes to another place. It goes to every workplace where workers are under threat from fire and rehire. You're the ones under threat at the present time, and my absolute support for you, because winning this will be a victory, not just for every teacher and other support staff in schools all around the country, but for everybody that's frightened of what the future might hold in regard to pensions and security of their work. What I'd also say is this about the teaching profession. I get fed up with the attacks that are made on teachers, the responsibility that's heaped on teachers for every ill in society. My constituency, like Bell and Rupert and others, is economically and socially very mixed. Many of my children, my area, growing up in poverty, 45% or so growing up in relative poverty in the constituency. And those kids living in private rented flats or high-rise flats suffered grievously during the pandemic. It's not too bad being at home if you've got a good computer and a garden to play in and all that. But if all you've got is a bedroom you share with a brother and a sister, and you don't have a functioning computer and poor quality internet, you lose out, and you lose out big time. And teachers are expected to pick up all the pieces from that, the mental health stress and all the other stress that goes with it. And you work incredibly hard. I have neighbours who are teachers, and I see them going out in the morning, 7:30, and getting back 7:30 in the evening, flat out working all the time, and the stress that goes with it. So I'm fed up with ministers being critical of teachers, not understanding the work that you do, and not understanding the importance you are in society as a whole. Schools cannot solve every social problem that's in our society, but you have to deal with the consequences of the poverty and the inequality and the misery with which so many children are brought up. I want to create a society that's fit for the next generation. That means decent housing. It means properly funded schools. It means not having stressed teachers. It means that support system and support staff in schools as well. So when you take action to defend your jobs, your conditions, and your pension at the end of it, you're taking action on behalf of all of us, and you have the support of all of us. My mother was a teacher, and she enjoyed the teacher's pension scheme. And she loved her job, she loved the teaching that she did, but what she hated, and it was even growing then, the levels of bureaucracy involved in teaching and the tick box exercises that go with it. I want the brilliance and imagination of teachers to come out, so we don't bring up an over-tested, over-league tabled, over-competitive education system. We bring up children where their imagination, their artistry, their poetry, their music can get free rein as well as all the other academic subjects they have to do. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for improving Parliament Square, and make sure you